1968, Robert Kennedy returns to Washington. The ceremony of death carries memories of life, a promise destroyed, a dream abiding.
To that new spirit of America, Senator Robert F. Kennedy.
How would you like to be remembered? I mean, what would you like the first line of a history book about Robert Kennedy to say?
I think something about the fact that I made some contribution to either my country or those who were less well off. I think again back to what Camus wrote about the fact that perhaps this world is a world in which children suffer, but we can lessen the number of suffering children. And if you do not do this, then who will do this? And I'd like to feel that I'd done something to lessen that suffering.
To wealth and ease, promised a future of comfort and security, then lashed and remade by the urgencies of his time. A child of opulence becomes the voice of the disinherited. Through the mysterious chemistry of democracy, a man grows into a leader.
It's not just the poor who are suffering. It's not just those who want a better education who are suffering. It's not only those who need jobs and employment who are suffering, but the whole country is suffering, and I don't think any of us can be satisfied or happy or contented or filled with joy while that war goes on and while that money is being spent and American lives are being lost in the devastation of Vietnam. Ladies and gentlemen, George Bernard Shaw once wrote, "Some people see things as they are and say, why? I dream things that never were and say, why not?"
A sensitive man, he shares the agony of a bitter age. A man of passion, he rouses passion. His life has been a journey of change, enlarged by experience, altered by tragedy, thrust in directions never expected. The quest for the presidency was not foretold by his beginnings.
Well, the question was, what advice would I give to a young man interested in politics? But if I just trace my own career, I went to college and then law school, and then I started out just as a lawyer at the Department of Justice. And I worked very hard, and I was diligent, and I stayed late at night, and I made a great deal of effort, and then 10 years later, I was made Attorney General. So I don't know whether it's just... I think if you can get your brother elected President of the United States, that helps.
The political career of Robert Kennedy is entwined with that of his brother John, who, as congressman in 1952, runs for the Senate in Massachusetts. Heading his organization, Robert Kennedy makes his first mark on politics, and in the partnership of brothers lies a family pattern.
All right. Right. Bobby, this is my brother Bobby, who managed the campaign. Perhaps he could give us some idea, more up to date, of what the final figures were.
Well, I think that from what we got up to about 20 minutes ago, that
The election establishes victory as a Kennedy habit, and Robert Kennedy as his brother's strong right arm. The union of talents marks the beginning of an extraordinary political combination.
Good, fine. Well, I guess you're glad it's over, aren't you, Bobby?
I am, Jack.
Okay.
But only the executive branch, John Kennedy says, can really move things. So in 1960, he seeks presidency. Commanding the campaign, determined and unrelenting, Robert Kennedy cares little who may be hurt on the road to victory. The man behind the candidate, he must perform the hard necessities of discipline and denial. The reputation he wins is not soon forgotten, but his brother becomes president. In the vortex of power, the president wants his brother by his side. Defying tradition and criticism, he names Robert Kennedy to his cabinet.
Mr. Attorney General, may I ask you, as his brother, when you first started looking at him and thinking of him as a possible holding a presidential office is what I mean.
Oh, for a long time.
And when did you first start thinking of yourself as the Attorney General?
Just for a short time. Nice to see you.
Thank you both.
The seventh of 9 children, Robert Kennedy grows up in a family where competition breeds spirit and skill. But as the third of 4 brothers, he must struggle to emerge. His mother remembers.
Well, he was small, as you remember him. And of course his 2 brothers were much older and much bigger, really. But he adored them, and he wanted to imitate them in every way, and they were all very cooperative and helped him. So there was no feeling of inferiority. There was just a more adoration, I think. When he was growing up, he was surrounded by sisters, and my mother thought that he might become a sissy. But I used to smile to myself later when he was called ruthless, because I remembered so well her shaking her head at me and saying, with all those girls and that nurse, he's going to be just not have a chance at all.
Head of the clan is Joseph P. Kennedy, the guiding, driving patriarch. Wall Street is the foundation of his financial empire. And seeing private wealth as an obligation to public service, he enters politics as part of the Roosevelt administration.
His father, of course, was wonderful. He thought that the politics and government service to humanity in one way or another, that they owed that to this country, which had been so wonderful to him. And that was his great plan for them, or his great ambition for them, to have them serve in one way or another in the government.
Top of the Kennedy chain, the first repository of the family hope is Joe Jr., handsome, gregarious, authoritative. Next in the line of succession is Jack, detached, ironic, a lover of books and ideas.